and it's unfair that these aren't being allocated fairly.
To end hunger and poverty for humankind.
My parents are doctors who can afford the $93,000 a year. But what about the kids who weren't born on third base?
It makes me poor.
Alex Shieh 埃里克斯·谢是 Brown University Rising Junior， 也就是布朗大学即将大三的一名美国学生，计算机和经济学双学士，校内刊物 Brown Spectator 和媒体 Boston Globe 的撰稿人，创建了 Blowed at Brown 网站，批评院校管理的臃肿与高学费。这个网站是用 AI 爬取 Brown 非教学人员的名单并发送邮件。Alex 还收集了 Brown 的财政数字，并且要求公开行政开支的明细。他提供了一个高度具体、数据支撑的院校臃肿的案例，与国会当前关注的 Ivy League 学费共谋、助学金政策、行政开支透明等问题高度契合，因此被邀请到国会作证。而另一边呢，蒋雨融卢安娜奖是哈佛肯尼迪国际发展专业 MPA 25级的毕业生，来自于中国。他用带泪的声音呼吁 Shared Humanity， 聚焦全球团结与共情。蒋雨融的 Shared Humanity 毕业演讲在中美社交网络爆火，有人为他分配的情感点赞，也有网民激烈围攻他讲话的假大空。后又爆出他的家庭背景，父亲是任职于政府背景的最大的 NGO 之一绿色发展协会。此后，中国社交媒体的网民针对他的中共叙事、他个人的背景和他事后的回应呢，以批评居多，甚至达到了网暴的级别，可以说是掀起了一波巨大的流量与争议。而 Alex Shieh 的国会作证则主要在美国两党及高校内部引发关注，很少进入华语观众的视野，但我认为这两位华裔学生的发声都有很直观的社会意义。那我们来看一些细节，希望能引发更多的思考。
Alex Shieh, the Brown University student who sent a Doge-like email to thousands of non-faculty employees, testified before Congress today. Lawmakers holding the hearing to discuss elite universities inflating the cost of higher education. You caught up with Shieh after the hearing, discussing his testimony and obviously what comes next for this rising junior. What did he tell you?
An Ivy League degree has enormous potential to increase a student's earning potentials, and it's unfair that these aren't being allocated fairly.
Brown University rising junior Alex Shieh testifying before Congress Wednesday during a hearing on alleged antitrust violations and tuition price fixing among Ivy League schools.
This committee has a responsibility not just to investigate Ivy League antitrust violations, but to reclaim the American dream.
Alex 其实在今年3月份发出一封 Doge 风格的群发邮件，向校内约3805名非教学人员提问：你们一周都在做什么？并用了 AI 技术抓取，发布在 Blowed at Brown 网站上。这一系列操作迅速引发校方的纪律调查，学校指控他信息不实，涉嫌侵犯隐私，并对报社成员启动大学商标非法使用的调查。随后 Alex 去国会听证会上作证，引用了 Brown 年学费超过 $93,000， 也就是93000美元，学校财政赤字高达 $46 million， 4600万美元，行政职员与本科生比例约1:2的数据。在政治立场上 Alex 自称为 conservative student， 保守派的学生。他对校园机构的臃肿、高昂学费以及 DEI， 也就是多元、公平、包容的政策不予认同，经常公开批评这些体制问题。因为在他看来 DEI 职位红利分配机制反映了院校结构性的浪费，我估计他是受到了马斯克 Doge 行动的启发。尽管学校回应称他们提供了完善的助学金还有奖学金的项目，但是 Alex 认为那只不过是杯水车薪，学费上涨趋势仍由行政臃肿推动。而现阶段他的行动正好契合了共和党对 Ivy League 美国常春藤大学哄抬学费、减少 Pell Grant 依赖等指控，因而他获得了来自于川普系共和党员的支持。不过国会听证中也不乏民主党声音， 赞赏他的自发调查的行为，称其在大学问责的路径上提供了一些必要的启发，并且支持他的行动。
Working people do not have a fair shot at higher education. I think that is why we have been so vocal today about the cuts to the Pell Grant program.
Shieh, however, urged the committee to investigate further, even calling on lawmakers to subpoena Brown President Christina Paxson.
To really get to the bottom of why Brown is charging students $93,000 a year for 1 year of college.
相反，蒋雨融的讲话虽然感情丰富，但是并未提供任何实质数字或行动方案。他的叙事和专业所学完全脱节，高高的在上呼吁人类共同体，确实像极了中共体制的领导讲话，也应和了习氏人类命运共同体的叙事，不接地气。相信这种空话和倪萍式的春晚煽情，才是刺激到苦中国官僚已久的已经 PTSD 的中国网民的元凶。相比之下 Alex 的行动力、数据量还有问责的决心，尽管我也不是全盘认同，但是显然要强于蒋雨融的空喊。尽管二人同为亚裔，并且都接受了西式的教育，但是蒋雨融运行的分明还是中国的内核，他汲取的西方或者说左派的价值观也仅仅停留在皮毛。下面让我把时间留给两位主角，也留待各位的评判。
Final round.
My name's Alex Shieh, and I'm a rising junior at Brown University, one of the most exclusive institutions in the world. But I'm not here to glorify the Ivy League. I'm here to warn you that the promise of American higher education, of opportunity through meritocracy, is under attack.
Of something I used to believe when I was a kid, that the world was becoming a small village.
I'm a legacy student at Brown. I went to a prep school that feeds to the Ivy League, and my parents are doctors who can afford the $93,000 a year sticker price. In other words, I'm exactly who the Ivy League was built for. But what about the kids who weren't born on third base? Statistically speaking, for a smart kid from a poor family, an Ivy League degree can power their ascent to the upper income brackets better than anything else. That's the American dream. But today, that dream is now a luxury good. According to the New York Times, at Brown, the median student's family makes over $200,000 a year. Half the student body comes from the top 5% of earners. And research by Brown's own professor, John Friedman, shows that even equally qualified low-income students are vastly underrepresented.
If there's a woman anywhere in the world who cannot afford a period pad, it makes me poor.
At this very moment, the American people are tightening their belts, and Brown is raising tuition to beyond $90,000 a year. And even while charging students the price of a luxury car, Brown is on track to run a $46 million deficit this year. Where's all the money going? I'll tell you where it's going. It's going into an empire of administrative bloat and bureaucracy. Brown employs 3,805 full-time non-instructional staff for just 7,229 undergrads. That's one administrator for every 2 students. This isn't education. This is bloat, paid for on the backs of students and families who are mortgaging their futures for a shot at a better life. Meanwhile, Grace Calhoun, Brown's athletic director, earns over $1 million. A household assistant on payroll tends to University President Christina Paxson. And when budget cuts are made, these expenses stay while the student experience deteriorates. My dorm floods when it rains, and the burger patties in our dining hall have been replaced by an unappetizing beef-mushroom blend.
If a girl who skips school out of fear of harassment that threatens my dignity, if a little boy dies in a war that he didn't start and never understood, part of me dies with him.
The idea that Brown's administration can be streamlined isn't conjecture. We didn't used to have these many administrators. Across the nation, the number of university administrators has risen by 162% in recent decades. And it's no coincidence that correspondingly, the cost of education has risen 181% in inflation-adjusted dollars since the 90s. Across the pond, a world-class education at Oxford or Cambridge can cost about half as much as an Ivy League degree, in part due to a much lower administrative burden. The status quo has a real human cost.
My program at Harvard is international development. What I've gained most from Harvard isn't just calculus or regression analysis. It's to sit with discomfort, listen deeply, and stay soft in hard times.
I recently learned of a brilliant young man from Pensacola, Florida, who got into Brown but was forced to walk away because the financial aid wasn't enough. Brown says it meets 100% of demonstrated need, but Brown gets to decide what that need is. Middle-class students in particular suffer from these policies, earning too much to qualify for generous scholarships, but not enough to go to Brown without straddling themselves with significant amounts of debt. And let's not forget that Brown is one of several Ivy League schools that settled a federal antitrust lawsuit last year for allegedly colluding to suppress financial aid offers. I'm a reporter for the Brown Spectator, and to document this problem, I created a website called Blowed at Brown that used AI to assess whether each administrative role was actually necessary. I sent each administrative employee a Doge-style email to ask them, what do you do all day? Instead of answering, Brown's response was retaliation. My social security number was leaked. Our website was hacked. And Associate Dean Kirsten Wolf launched a disciplinary investigation into a litany of baseless charges, such as emotional harm. When they couldn't get me, they charged every single board member of the Brown Spectator, an unprecedented attack on student journalism. But we refused to back down, and we won our hearings. There was no misconduct, only exposure, and that's what Brown feared the most. This committee has a responsibility, not just to investigate Ivy League antitrust violations, but to reclaim the American dream from those who have twisted it into a racket. I call on you today to subpoena Brown's president, Christina Paxson, and ask her why Brown costs $93,000 a year. The American dream isn't just for the legacies, the coastal elites, or the children of privilege. It belongs to the kid in rural Kansas with a 4.0 GPA, the first-gen student working a night shift, and the families who did everything right and still got priced out. They deserve a seat at the table. They deserve a shot at making it big. Their American dreams matter too. I thank you for the opportunity to testify, and I welcome your questions.
You may disagree with them, but hold on to them, as we are bound by something deeper than belief, our shared humanity.